It's rematch time in Athens, Georgia. The Spike Squad has filled in their seats as Georgia welcomes in one of the hottest teams in the nation, South Carolina, coming to town. A rematch of a game that Georgia won just a few weeks ago. Excited to be with you. Courtney Lyle, alongside the Hall of Famer Carolyn Pack. South Carolina was not ranked in Monday's poll. They said, hold my drink, let me go be the top 5 team on the road.
And as a coach, you know that you may not want to talk about it, but it's on your mind, it's on your players' mind. You're playing with that chip on your shoulder, and that's how South Carolina has been able to be on this 4-game win streak.
South Carolina's been a little disrespected, right? They're currently second in the SEC standings after being picked to finish last. They have 4 quad 1 wins, 2 wins over top 10 teams, but their only home loss was to this Georgia team, and a lot of that had to do with Silas Demery.
And Silas Demery is a freshman point guard, but he's big, he is composed, and he plays with a lot of maturity. He can get downhill. He can get to that second layer of the defense and make the defense have to collapse in. That opens up shooters on the perimeter. The focus for South Carolina is to keep that driver out of the paint so they don't have to overhelp.
Last time these two teams met was back on January 16th. Georgia won 74-69. They shot a total of 64 free throws in that game. It took 2.5 hours.
I hope you brought your lunch.
Pack it. Let's go. Round 2. Nope, not yet. You think they want to start this game?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to start in the hands of Talon Cooper for South Carolina. The Gamecocks come in at 18-3, went on the road on Tuesday, and took down Tennessee in a packed Food City Center in Knoxville.
It's all about South Carolina defensively. They make it tough, and that young man right there, Colin Murray Boyle, has been tremendous once he has been moved into the starting lineup.
Starting for the 7th straight game. Here's UGA's starting 5, and Jabri Abdur-Rahim. He's their leading scorer, but the last 3 games only averaging 8 points.
He's at the top of everybody's scouting report. Number 1 in white, Abdur-Rahim. He's a 3-point shooter, but he has added that to his game right there, getting downhill in the paint.
It's a good sign to see him take it in early. Coming off 7 points against Alabama. Meanwhile, you see the South Carolina starting 5. Meechie Johnson is their leading scorer and one of their leaders, but he's only had a total of 3 points over their last 2 games.
But Lamont Paris said he does so many other things. It ain't just about making buckets.
Melendez over to Noah Thomason. Little drama on the 3 finish.
It's important for Georgia to get off to a good start at home. They know that South Carolina has revenge on their minds. You cannot let the opposing team have that mental edge.
We'll go inside to B.J. Mack, the key transfer from Wofford. He can score inside. He can also step out and pop that 3.
When you've got B.J. Mack and you've got Murray Boyle for South Carolina on the floor at the same time, that's 2 bigs, where Georgia really plays 1 big and 4 guards on the perimeter.
Thomason trying again. Rebound by Russell Chiwa.
I think rebounding is going to decide this game. Second chance opportunities, or who can do a better job defensive rebounding.
B.J. Mack, there he is, trying to show off his range, and Lamont Paris totally fine with him taking that shot.
Yeah, Lamont Paris said that. B.J. Mack, he's a better shooter than his percentage indicates. Right now, it's showing 31%. But Coach Paris wants him to pull the trigger if he's open.
Colin Murray Boyles takes it away, and South Carolina quickly back on offense. Meechie Johnson facing a double team. Mack trying to body up Chiwa. Murray Boyles with the putback, no. Second offensive rebound, but it's stripped by Thomason. How does the 4-guard lineup help Georgia offensively?
Well, they're quicker. So if you get a mismatch with a big on one of the guards, what Georgia's going to try to do is take advantage of that on the drive.
How pretty is that? Jabri Abdur-Rahim.
He was here. I was here. We both got here a little bit more than 2 hours before the game, and he was already on the court warming up.
Got to get back and play defense, though. Zachary Davis with the dunk on the other end. Silas Demery Jr. in control, a freshman out of North Carolina. Sometimes you forget he's a freshman the way he plays.
He has such maturity on the floor, and he's a competitor, fierce. And he's somebody that Mike White constantly wants on the floor, loves his decision-making from the point guard spot.
This will stay with South Carolina. Mike White in his second season leading Georgia. They are 11-2 at home this season. He was so pleased with how they played the last time against South Carolina. He said it was one of their best games, but they're coming off a heartbreaker. Alabama, they led for over 33 minutes against the number 24 team in the nation on Wednesday, but couldn't finish it.
And gave up 58 points in that second half. It makes you go back and scratch your head defensively. Why the letdown in the second half?
He talked to us about that transition defense. That's been something they've focused on. He said the intensity, it was just different. It wasn't the same from the first to the second half for his team. The slam from Josh Gray. All 8 of South Carolina's points coming in the paint.
The bigs and the rotation from the bench that South Carolina has. But Georgia stroking it from the three-point line.
That's 3 balls for the Georgia Bulldogs. Inside to Murray Boyles. And we're going to pause. Georgia up by a point.
Well, and Abdur Rahim just finding his opportunities, patience, ready to pull the trigger when that spot is there. Bottom.
Every year.
Forget about what we've already done. Ignore those who say we've reached the peak. You won't find us standing still to take a bow. We're the ones pushing even further. That's us reaching even higher, working like dogs. Reimagining what's truly possible. Because we're not finished yet. This is the University of Georgia. And we're just getting started.
You hear a lot about me these days. But here at the University of South Carolina, it's all about the we. The curious we. The compassionate we. The lend a hand, bend an ear we. The Rhodes Scholar winning, 80,000 head spinning, united, unstoppable, undeniable we. Because when you stand for something bigger than yourself, you can create something that benefits all. Behold, the remarkable we.
Well, as we said, South Carolina disrespected on Monday when the poll came out. They were not a ranked team, so they went to Rocky Top and took over. The first time getting a top 5 road win since 1997. They led against Tennessee for 30 minutes. And the first time beating 2 top 10 opponents in 3 games since 1968.
Maybe it's the best thing, guys. We've done what we've done because we play with a chip on our shoulder. We don't back down. We compete. We play basketball. We do the things that we're supposed to do. And so maybe it's been a blessing for us to constantly have to go out there and try to do it and fight. And so, we're focused on something different than the top 25. I hope the selection committee. I'm interested in impressing them. I am.
Yeah, South Carolina's trying to get back to the tournament for the first time since 2017. If you'll notice, Coach Paris wearing the same quarter zip that he wore on Tuesday in the win over Tennessee.
I would wear that too. It might be his lucky quarter zip, and he's getting support too from the women's head coach, Dawn Staley. She's talking about, don't rank us. We went ahead and beat another ranked team, a top 5 team. Please, rank me, please.
Inside the top 20. You think they go inside the top 20?
They've got to, but I think that it'll be a question mark if they do not take care of business here in Athens.
Well, so far, Georgia is 4 of 5 from three-point land. A team that shoots 35% from three. They'll take that start. There's going to be a foul on the floor. And that's against Blue Kane of Georgia. His first.
We were talking about the mismatch of Georgia playing with 4 perimeter players to South Carolina having 2 bigs on the floor. A lot of times switching happens and a small ends up on a big, and that's when fouls can be called.
So Abdur-Rahim corrals the ball, and Josh Gray of South Carolina will be whistled for his first foul. Georgia shooting 63% from the field to start this game. They're 4 of 5 from three.
Because Georgia's shooting so well from the three-point line, South Carolina now really going with 1 big and 4 perimeter players.
South Carolina's put in Miles Stute, number 10 in black. Quick shot from Thomason is no good, but Jabri with the rebound. And Blue Kane loses it. It'll be Gamecock basketball.
Georgia keeping the focus and intensity, now extended that full court press with a 2-2-1.
Cooper getting the screen from Stute.
And Josh Gray isolated inside one-on-one. He's just too tough down there by himself.
Went right past Jalen Deloach. We were at Georgia's practice yesterday. They put their post players through a physical underneath the basket battle too to get ready for this one.
And I love the drill. They have them post up without getting the ball for 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds so that you don't get the violation, but you're holding a low post, strong base position, almost like you're sitting in a chair. It's just great training for a little game slippage. When you get in there, you're not just peekaboo in and out, but you're in there establishing your position.
Peekaboo.
You like that?
I like it. Pressure stays on for Georgia's defense. South Carolina, no problems with it. Gamecocks have hit 4 of their last 5 shots. BJ Mack back in the game for Carolina.
I like this freshman, Colin Murray Boyle. He's got a terrific skill set.
I'll throw it inside to Murray Boyles. Back out to BJ Mack. The 1-2 up and in. What a get out of the portal.
Oh, he is 7 feet, got hands like a guard. He can shoot it from 3. He's got a strong body to play inside.
Blue with the 5th 3 of the game for Georgia.
Like, this is a game. Georgia's going after you outside. South Carolina going at you in the paint.
South Carolina, 12 of their 14 points have come in the paint. Cooper back up to Mack. Looking for the long ball. No. Melendez skies it for the rebound. Do you have to adjust your defense if you're South Carolina now that they've hit 5 threes?
Well, I think that they have. They rotated in. They put in 4 guards. Now 2 bigs back on the floor. But they're going to have to come a step beyond that 3-point line and force the drive.
Justin Hill going downhill. Back out to Kane. 6 seconds on the shot clock. He just hit one from the corner. The step back for Blue! 2 blue bombs in a row. Largest lead for Georgia.
This crowd is rocking.
Because we're basically sitting in the student section. Since they moved the student section closer to the court, it's right behind us, the Spike Squad in full force today. My goodness, Blue! 3 in a row! No heat check needed. Stute can't answer. Back to Blue.
Oh, I thought he was going to pull up for the three in transition. Good discipline for number 0 in white.
Noah Thomason guarded by B.J. Mack. Little ankle breaker. And Jalen Deloche with the extra hustle to get the offensive board.
Mike White wants a motion, wants to come over to Blue Cane's side.
Stolen away by Miles Stute. That's an important stop if you're South Carolina. Georgia was feeling it. Colin Murray-Boyles back out. Jacoby Wright takes it and gets blocked. Uh-oh. Oh, he had hit 3 in a row. You give him the heat check, though. You give him the heat check.
Well, Georgia, they've extended out to a 7-point lead, and a lot of it has to do with my boy Blue from deep, number 0 in white. 2 threes downtown.
When are sports more than sports? When your highlight reel opens the door to 4 years of higher education, 0 student loan debt, and NIL earning potential. When your stats include free room and board, nutrition and mental health support, plus medical care with extended coverage. And when your experiences, friendships, and development put you in the win column for life. For college athletes, sports just mean more.
Forget about what we've already done. Ignore those who say we've reached the peak. You won't find us standing still to take a bow. We're the ones pushing even further. That's us reaching even higher, working like dogs. Reimagining what's truly possible. Because we're not finished yet. This is the University of Georgia. And we're just getting started.
Thank you. Man, it's been a three-fest here in Stegeman Coliseum. Georgia, 7 of 12 from behind the arc. Blue Cane just hit 3 in a row.
That's an area where Georgia has been really strong in their bench production. And Blue Cane came in locked and loaded early in this first half.
Interesting, too, the first meeting between these two teams, Georgia had a season low 3 for 3 from behind the arc. They're making up for that here in the first half. Meanwhile, South Carolina's been scoring the majority of its points in the paint.
Yeah, I think that with Georgia's adjustment from the first game is they saw opportunities after scouting that first game where the 3 opportunities were going to be. So those are expected shots. When you are able to take those expected shots, your percentages go up.
Look at Georgia, the only team to beat South Carolina at home this year. That was back on January 16th. Gamecocks trying to return the favor after a big top 5 win over Tennessee. But the Bulldogs making it really hard to do that. Courtney Lyle and Carolyn Peck with you from Athens.
South Carolina wants to be really patient. Pat Bradley talked about that. And being disciplined with their offense, have few but effective possessions.
Dimery with the steal up ahead to Melendez. And he's fouled by Meechie Johnson. That'll be the first on Meechie.
Pushing in transition. Oh, that's close. I didn't see much contact.
Well, either way, it puts R.J. Melendez at the free throw line. 86% free throw shooter. Coming up, our college basketball quadruple header continues right here on the SEC Network. We're featuring this game, 6 Eastern. Number 16, Auburn, hosting Ole Miss. Or actually, it's going to be the other way around. Auburn at Ole Miss in the Pavilion in Oxford.
Ooh, that Ole Miss-Mississippi State game was hot.
It's always hot. Talk about a rivalry.
Matt Morrell, big-time plays down the stretch to protect home court in that home state rivalry.
They call a foul on Melendez. He gives the ball to South Carolina. Morris Ugasuk in the game. He's all by himself on the block. That's number 15 in the black jersey for the Gamecocks.
And the first time,
Josh Gray with the slam.
Now, the first time these two teams met, both teams went to the free throw line 32 times. South Carolina has yet to get to the free throw line.
It's a lot of free throws, Peck. Melendez all by himself. Our producer, Meg Campbell, also produced that game. She said it was, yes. She felt every single free throw.
But for 2.5 hours, right?
Meechie from deep. That's his first shot attempt of the game. Again, Meechie Johnson, the leading scorer for South Carolina, coming into this game having 3 total points over their last 2 games. RJ Melendez, you gotta love the hustle.
Mike White's about at half court. I thought he was going to be part of this press. He wanted to get set for his team. But Georgia's got to be careful not to fall in love with the three-point shot. South Carolina's extended their defense. Driving opportunities will be there.
10 seconds for Carolina. And underneath, Josh Gray in all kinds of traffic. They'll whistle the foul. And that'll be on Russell Chiwa, his first.
You see Georgia's defense shrinking. It's getting very populated in that paint area, making it very congested for South Carolina. They're going to have to, the Gamecocks are going to have to start hitting some threes to get that Georgia defense to expand.
South Carolina 0 for 4 from 3 as Gray hits the first. Noah Thomason back in for Georgia. Jacoby Wright checks back in for South Carolina. And Talon Cooper in for the Gamecocks.
Lamont Paris told us how competitive Cooper is, and he's just that player that can make big plays. We talked about South Carolina needing to make some threes to open up the paint. Will Cooper be that person?
He has answered the call all season. They'll need him again here today. Gray misses the second. A hard hedge by Gray. Melendez swings it over to Jabri Abdur-Rahim. And again, they're trying for the 3. It's not there right now.
Well, that was a good shot. The rotation in, defense had rotated. That's a green light for Abdur-Rahim.
Ugasuk, no. Rebound by Dimery. Up ahead to Melendez. Transition opportunity to slam it. Georgia's largest lead.
You watch that off guard on the backside, opposite the ball, is always flooding into the paint.
They're coming after Meechie Johnson hard. Talon Cooper open, and Carolina desperately needed that. Their first 3. They started 0 for 5.
Cooper's going to have to make those shots. Meechie Johnson's going to have to look for and pull the trigger to open the paint back up for the Gamecocks.
Cooper's been their best scorer over the last 4 games, 15.5 points per game. Abdur-Rahim dumping it off to Dimery. 9 seconds.
Oh, Jacoby Wright overran the ball. He got lucky right there.
Meechie, transition deep.
That's what I'm talking about. Meechie, when he has the opportunity, Meechie Johnson's got to pull the trigger. Make the defense respect the Gamecocks from the perimeter.
Meechie Johnson almost had himself the basketball. South Carolina playing catch-up on the road at Georgia.
And Georgia scoring off their defense. Melendez being that spark for 2 right now. Georgia in control at home.
Winter sports, more than sports. When your highlight reel opens the door to 4 years of higher education, 0 student loan debt, and NIL earning potential. When your stats include free room and board, nutrition and mental health support, plus medical care with extended coverage. And when your experiences, friendships, and development put you in the win column for life. For college athletes, sports just mean more.
You hear a lot about me these days, but here at the University of South Carolina, it's all about the we. The curious we, the compassionate we, the lend a hand, bend an ear we. The Rhodes Scholar winning, 80,000 head spinning, united, unstoppable, undeniable we. Because when you stand for something bigger than yourself, you can create something that benefits all. Behold, the remarkable we.
We have a loud crowd inside Stegman Coliseum today for a rematch with one of the hottest teams in the nation. Georgia's been in control most of this game. Courtney Lau, Carolyn Peck with you. And Georgia started hot from the three-point line, 6 of 7, but since then, 1 for 9.
Well, the defense is tightened up for South Carolina. I mean, listen, when South Carolina beat Tennessee, they held Tennessee to shooting almost 28%. So they've got to get back to that three-point defense with the way Georgia started this game.
This is a South Carolina defense that's tops in the SEC when it comes to points allowed per game, 18th in the nation. They only give up 64.2 points per game. It'll be Georgia basketball here. Gamecocks on a 6-0 run. They've hit back-to-back threes.
I'm watching the matchup with Mack and Chiwa inside.
Blue Cane with the drive, can't finish. South Carolina looking to add to its run.
Michi Johnson on the bench. He hit a three to kind of get the momentum going for the Gamecocks.
He's only taken 2 shots, and there's Morris Ugasuk.
Before the game, you and I were talking, and I said, for South Carolina to win on the road, they got to hit some threes. It was Georgia that came out hot from the three-point line. So either South Carolina's got to take away those threes, or they've got to be able to match what Georgia's already been able to put up.
And they've hit their last 3. South Carolina down by 1. Chiwa puts 2 more on.
Now, and Mike White knows that South Carolina wants to be deliberate with the offense, so they're making Georgia's defense making South Carolina take less time bringing the ball up so that they cannot really be patient to move the ball to get the shots they want.
Cooper thought about it, but Thomason got there really quickly. Jacoby Wright misses. And it's Georgia basketball. That's a foul on Zachary Davis of South Carolina. His first. Now South Carolina started 0 for 5 from 3. Since then, 3 of 4. Georgia started 7 of 10. Since then, 0 for 6.
That's what the game of basketball is. It's runs. It's a roller coaster. You're going to have ups and downs, and it's the team that can handle those runs the best.
Uh-oh. Abdur Rahim, that's 3-ball number 8 for Georgia. Cooper so patient, but here comes the trap. Davis in the corner. BJ Mack working on Deloche.
Gonna give him the Barkley down low.
Cooper. Quickly they swing it to him and he crushed it.
We just talked about him being a player that makes the big down plays, the things his team needs him to do, and Cooper just buried that 3.
Demery's shot's off. It doesn't have to be hitting the 3. It can be being a defensive stopper, getting a key rebound. He does the little things when the Gamecocks need it most.
Or delivering that pass, the assist when it's needed.
BJ Mack trying to get physical, and he traveled. 4th turnover by South Carolina.
Please welcome back to the court for the Dogs, R.J. Melendez.
Melendez back on the floor for UGA. Georgia has led by as many as 10. South Carolina's largest lead has been 2.
Blue King back on the floor. I hope he didn't sit too long to cool off.
He's 3 for 4 from 3. Hill, the step back, pretty.
Yeah, with the defense of South Carolina extended, that's where Georgia now penetrate. Don't go too far trying to get to the rim, but the pull-up is there.
Zachary Davis will miss on the 3.
Colin Murray-Bowles was posted up down low with a guard on him. You got to find the big guy down low when he's there.
Demery. You think he's in trouble, but finds his way through the trees.
6'5". That's a point guard that has that strength and ability to go inside and finish through traffic.
A freshman. Mike White called him a monster of a kid. He has not had a bad day since he arrived at Georgia.
That's high praise for a freshman playing at this level.
And Mike White told us he was really, really ready for college. That's rare. Colin Murray-Boyles was too.
Yeah, that's another freshman that was ready for this level.
Murray-Boyles was dealing with some mono at the beginning of the season, missed the first month basically of the season, but he's worked his way into the starting lineup the last 7 games. In and out for Hill.
Oh, he's hurt.
There's 2 players down on the floor, one for Georgia, one for South Carolina. They're both up, Deloche and Wright. Meechie Johnson, swish. 5 threes for Carolina.
This South Carolina team, really, the pressure doesn't land on the shoulders of any one player. They all can step up at different times. That 3 from Meechie Johnson was huge.
That stresses the defense, too, when it's not just one person to key on. All right, Demery. Get in there.
This is what we expected after the first matchup between these 2 teams.
Murray-Boyles fearless going inside.
That's a good sign for South Carolina because Murray-Boyles was asking to come out in that last possession, but he was able to shake it off and stay in the game.
We got a 2-point game. South Carolina getting comfortable with the 3-ball. Meechie Johnson hits it down. They've hit 5 long balls today. But Silas Demery, ready for the SEC. Throw anything his way, he's on it.
What's up, y'all? Coming up on the Principal Halftime Report, a Bayou beatdown down in Baton Rouge. Also, we get you ready for Cats and Vols a little later. I know, Slay, you're excited about that. What are you seeing right now at Steg?
Well, this one, it's a hot plate. You know, hot plates warm up the food. This one all over the floor. Hot shooting from both teams.
I think more of an air fryer. Both these teams, hey, it looks like a chef put this thing out, but, you know,
love
they just doing it that way.
Hungry. Ladies?
Hot plate air fryer, guys. Somebody walked off and left it on because it's cooking right now.
Absolutely. Better warm up. You know how when you cook, you barbecue even, after you pull the meat off the grill, you're supposed to let it rest?
Yeah. Not today.
Well, they might be resting at halftime in the locker room, but they're going to have to heat it back up coming out.
South Carolina has assisted on all 16 of its made field goals. Georgia's hit 5 of its last 7 shots. Both of these teams hitting over 50% from the floor.
That's what you want in basketball now when you're watching it. And it's not like these 2 teams aren't playing somebody's defense.
Yeah.
But they are making shots. They are making efficient shots offensively. This is the kind of basketball game you want to see.
Georgia has led by as many as 10 in this first half.
Oh, well, I thought he traveled. He shuffled his feet.
No call. Thomason takes it. The fadeaway, trying to shoot over South Carolina's defense, and a minute to go till the half. Delon Cooper driving in, and he wanted the foul. He will get it. That's the second on Chiwa.
I couldn't see it from up here on the replay on the baseline. That's a good no call.
Well, they called it on Chiwa.
Oh, they did call the foul.
Yeah. So Chiwa takes a seat for the final 50.4 seconds with 2 fouls. Cooper inside to Josh Gray. Jacoby Wright, no. And a foul on the floor on Jabri Abdur-Rahim.
It's about all you can do with Josh Gray down low. Keep him off the glass.
7 feet, 265, that's a big man.
And Melendez has Gray right now, as long as that's the matchup.
They'll swing it around the horn, back to Meechie Johnson, and Melendez blocks his shot. Georgia can take the last shot of the half.
We got 3 shooters, Melendez, Thomason. Abdur-Rahim is in the corner, number 1 in white.
Here's Thomason with 3 seconds, he elevates. Almost got tapped back in, but no go there. Georgia comes out and hits 8 3-pointers in the first half, and they lead South Carolina by 2. Let's get you back to the studio with the gang as Georgia's up by 2 here in Athens. You're ready for the second half here in Athens, Georgia. Georgia on top of South Carolina, who's coming off a top 5 win over Tennessee. Courtney Lyle and Carolyn Peck with you. And man, the 3-ball was working well for the Georgia Bulldogs in the first half.
Georgia came out red hot. They knew with the pressure of the defense of South Carolina, they're going to have to knock down those shots from the 3. But you know what? South Carolina called on to the 3-point game like in that first half.
Yeah, Georgia hit 8 3-pointers in the first half.
3 different players that were able to knock it down from 3. You had Abdur-Rahim. He started it off. Noah Thomason got involved, and then Blue Kane came in off the bench, and Kane was 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. And then for South Carolina, then to really even things up in the second half, Meechie Johnson started to light things up. And once South Carolina got the 3-point shot going to couple along with what they were doing in the paint, they were able to close this thing up and make it a 2-point game.
Time now for Every Detail Counts, brought to you by Pfizer. While Georgia won the 3-point battle, South Carolina won the points in the paint in the first half.
And it's almost even with the free throw attempts as well. So this game's going to be nip and tuck all the way through this second half.
So how do these teams respond out of the locker room now after a cooling off period, if you will? Georgia led by as many as 10 in the first half. Noah Thomason right to the basket. And he's stopped at South Carolina ball.
Where South Carolina had success early in that first half was going directly in the paint. As long as the post for the Gamecocks defended one-on-one, you got to go inside.
They've got B.J. Mack working on the wing. Meechie Johnson for 2. Johnson with 6 points today, but misses that one. Jabri Abdur-Rahim led Georgia in the first half with 11. There's Russ Chiwa up and in into the free throw line.
Georgia being patient now, being intentional about getting isolations themselves for Chiwa inside. Going against Cooper. That's just a big body. You cannot defend him one-on-one.
those are the second bucket, excuse me, that Russell Chiwa has made today. 4 points for him. And gets the three-point play.
Mike White got a full workout in that first half, trying to get his guys in the right position for this 2-2-1 press. I'm sure they talked about it in the locker room at halftime.
You like that they keep that pressure on?
Yeah, because it does two things. Takes time off the clock. It can also wear the offense down because they got to move a little bit, got to think a little bit when they're on offense.
Murray Boyles just working underneath. 12 points for Colin Murray Boyles to lead South Carolina.
It looks like Colin got poked in the eye a little bit.
Demery the fadeaway, and he's fouled by B.J. Mack. That's the first on Mack. So Demery's got 2 coming. He had 4 points in the first half. Drops in the first. Sunday afternoon, we'll have a women's basketball quadruple header. It starts at noon, but we're going to feature the middle game. Angel Reese at number 9, LSU hosting Florida at the Maravich Center. Coverage begins 2 Eastern, 1 Central right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. LSU's taken a couple of losses recently to South Carolina and then to Mississippi State on the road.
Yeah, the defensive teams that are able to pressure the perimeter and really take away, at the same time taking away the paint, you try to rebound with LSU, you give yourselves a chance.
Delon Cooper directing traffic for the Gamecocks.
Look, Melendez and Chiwa, they've got a decision to make. Who's going to guard the bigs inside?
Well, they brought 3, and it left Delon Cooper open to knock down the 3, the 6th long ball of the afternoon for South Carolina. Inside to Chiwa. Whips it over into the corner, and Abdur Rahim waiting.
Murray Boyles is so light on his feet, but that's a bad turnover right there.
And he hesitated and allowed the help to get there. Noah Thomason using that pivot. Get some space.
We got to spend some time with Thomason yesterday. He wants to get into broadcasting. He can break down the game for you, that's for sure.
He had to work to get that shot back. It went away for a little bit, but he never gave up on it as there's a travel by B.J. Mack.
Yeah, Thomason got his confidence back. It really didn't get shook when he went through a couple of games before that LSU game. He wasn't hitting shots. He said the coaches kept telling him to shoot it. His teammates kept confidence in him, so that's got him to, he had to trust his work. He knew he'd put the time in, his shot was going to come back.
Offensive foul against Georgia. That's against Silas Demery. His first.
Now the press, it's a man-to-man or a 1-2-1-1.
Justin Hill is going to replace Demery. And Blue Kane also will check in for Georgia, taking Abdur Rahim's spot. Again, Blue coming in. He's got 3 threes already in this game.
You got 2 bigs on the back offensively. If you can get the ball down to the middle of the floor, cause some havoc.
Colin Murray Boyles back over to Michi Johnson. And Blue Kane whistled for his second foul.
Now you've got Blue Kane guarding Murray Boyles. He gave that up and came out beyond the three-point line. He's got a size advantage, number 30 in black.
Poked out of bounds by Melendez. South Carolina to inbound again, 13 seconds on the shot clock. And Kane, still matched up with Murray Boyles. If they can get it to number 30 in black.
I don't think Colin recognizes who's guarding him. He's got to be willing to go down low and post up to take advantage.
Georgia's defense making it tough on South Carolina. 3 turnovers in the last minute 40 for the Gamecocks. Thomason flashing through the paint. Back to Blue Kane. Bounces just short off the iron. Chiwa's got it. Missed the putback.
Paint opportunities, the slash, the cuts were there. Just Georgia wasn't able to finish. See, this is what Murray Boyles needs to do, is take advantage. He got to realize he's got the size and strength over his defender.
That time it was Melendez guarding him. Zachary Davis with the bucket for Carolina. Georgia basketball. Still a 2-point game early on in the second half here in Athens. Everybody's looking towards March. Joe Lunardi is always looking at March. He's got 9 SEC teams in right now. South Carolina is a 6th seed. Georgia out of the field at the moment. They're being considered. But this South Carolina team, they've got a great resume. They've got 4 quad 1 wins. My question to you, Carolyn, is if Georgia hangs on and beats South Carolina today, does South Carolina deserve a ranking on Monday when the polls come out?
I think the voters will take a look at how close it is. If Georgia were to pull this game out and it was close, a nail-biter down to the end, I do think South Carolina definitely goes into being ranked. But how voters are, it's what have you done for me lately? And they may quickly forget that South Carolina did beat Tennessee, did beat Kentucky, and they need to remember that when it comes to that decision.
Yeah, for South Carolina, this is a quad 2 opponent. Now, what is a quad 1 win? Home wins, opponents have a net of 1 to 30. A neutral site win, opponents have a net of 1 to 50. Away, opponents have a net of 1 to 75. Again, this is a quad 2 game for South Carolina. That goes into the factor. This is all factors that the selection committee looks at when they're looking at your full resume to see whether you deserve to be in the tournament. And South Carolina hasn't been in the NCAA tournament since 2017 when they went to the Final Four.
The other thing that the committee looks at is how do you do the last 10 games? So if you were to look at that right now and you're looking at what both these teams have left in the regular season, the ESPN indicator only expects South Carolina to win 4 of their last 10 games, and that's just because 4 of them are at home.
Well, what does it know?
I know, because South Carolina is one of the better teams, if not the best team in the SEC with road wins.
Highlighted by that win at number 5, Tennessee on Tuesday. They had the looks, but couldn't get the bucket to go, and still Georgia up by 2. Georgia scoreless its last 4 trips down on this end. Chiwa up against Josh Gray. Back out to Justin Hill. You like what South Carolina is doing offensively right now?
Yeah, they're being very patient. They're being intentional. And that's what's allowed them, for the most part, to get the shots they want.
If they could get Miles Stute going, that would be big. He returned last game from a shoulder injury that he suffered against this Georgia team in the last meeting on January 16th.
How big were those threes he hit against Tennessee?
Monster.
Huge.
He was 3 for 3 against the Volunteers. From 3.
Now here's what Lamont Paris talked about. One-on-one accountability defensively from South Carolina, not requiring help or over-rotation.
Blue Canes shot is blocked by Zachary Davis. Davis taking baseline, taking the bucket. First lead since the opening seconds of this game for South Carolina.
Now with Georgia, closing out games has been important.
That was a problem for them against Alabama. They led for 33 minutes and 49 seconds. Led by as many as 16 on Wednesday, but couldn't close it out.
I was here in Georgia's game against LSU, and LSU made a run of it. Now, Georgia was able to pull that game out, but when you have a lead, you got to be able to put your foot on the gas and keep or create even more separation.
Noah Thomason back in, Melendez back in as well. BJ Mack returns to the floor for South Carolina.
Now, Georgia, those four guards opens up the lane for cutting and backdoor action.
Lamont Paris specifically mentioned the backdoor. They got beat several times on that by Georgia in the first meeting.
And in that first game, a lot of it was players were relaxed when Georgia would make cuts or there would be a screen action they weren't involved in, didn't come together. Now the overplay, you get a little antsy when you're behind, and that causes you to really extend your defense, and that's where you get beat even worse on those backdoor cuts.
Thomason right over the top of BJ Mack. Meanwhile, South Carolina hasn't scored in 3 minutes. Jacoby Wright fixed that.
And offensively, you don't want to panic and go, okay, you know, it's the second half, time's running out, and start just shooting threes. Get those high percentage shots, and then concentrate on getting stops on the defensive end.
Deloche, the turnaround short, and there's your stop for the Gamecocks.
As a coach, you want to keep your team focused on back-to-back stops. Your offense will come and create itself, but you've got to stop defensively when you're playing from behind.
A lot of teams will look at 3 defensive stops in a row. Some of them call it kills. Georgia calls it bites. Studi's shot was just blocked into the stands by Jabri Abdur-Rahim.
How is that not a foul? Miles Studi driving to the basket. He got caught in a Georgia sandwich. No foul? Come on.
Forget about what we've already done. Ignore those who say we've reached the peak. You won't find us standing still to take a bow. We're the ones pushing even further. That's us reaching even higher, working like dogs. Reimagining what's truly possible, because we're not finished yet. This is the University of Georgia, and we're just getting started.
You hear a lot about me these days, but here at the University of South Carolina, it's all about the we. The curious we, the compassionate we, the lend a hand, bend an ear we. The Rhodes Scholar winning, 80,000 head spinning, united, unstoppable, undeniable we. Because when you stand for something bigger than yourself, you can create something that benefits all. Behold, the remarkable we.
Well, we got a tie ball game in the round 2 meeting between these two teams. Back on January 16th, it was in Columbia. South Carolina had not lost all season on its home floor, and it was Georgia coming in, ending a 10-game home winning streak for the South Carolina Gamecocks. And UGA, big time down the stretch. They hit 11 of their last 12 free throws to really put it away.
Yeah, South Carolina itself, they struggled from the free throw line. They were 17 of 32, but Georgia took care of the basketball. They only had 7 turnovers. They won the battle of the boards. They were +3 in that rebounding category because, look, when you have two teams that are as balanced defensively, then it's the little things. Can you take care of the ball? Can you do the blue-collar work getting on the glass? And today, it's South Carolina that's winning the battle of the boards. They're +5. Georgia's going to have to tighten it up.
In that first meeting, it was Georgia who held South Carolina scoreless for 9 minutes in the second half. That also helped.
And Georgia only has 4 turnovers so far today.
And for a team that averages 11 a game, Jabri Abdul-Rahim was just whistled for his second foul, and it puts B.J. Mack at the free throw line. Georgia 1 for 3 from the charity stripe today. Excuse me, South Carolina. Georgia's 5 for 5.
That really cost South Carolina in Columbia when the first time these two teams met.
1 of 2 for Mack.
So now how South Carolina, they got to stop the ball from Georgia being able to get it inside in the paint, either on the drive or on slips, on cuts.
6 seconds now for Georgia. Back to Melendez. Trying to shake off Michi Johnson. And it's a shot clock violation. South Carolina's defense making it real tough.
And I think something for South Carolina too, I think they're in, not to say that Georgia's not, but South Carolina is in some solid physical condition. Seem to be that second half team can swing the momentum in their direction and hang on. They did that against Kentucky and Tennessee.
Mack trying to break down Deloche, and they'll get Deloche for his foul. That'll be his first.
Yeah, when B.J. Mack starts with that Barkley action, there's not a whole lot you can do. He's not only a Mack, he's like a Mack truck.
You can see it coming, too. Tuesday night, we'll have a men's basketball doubleheader here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. We're featuring the second game. This one's at 8:30, 7:30 Central. Antonio Reeves, number 10 Kentucky, taking on Vanderbilt. Peck's Commodores at historic Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville. But hey, Kentucky's got a big game today, tonight 8:30 against Tennessee.
Dalton Knecht. He has been on fire lately, but I think that he would give up some of those points he scored if it would have meant that the Tennessee Volunteers would have pulled off that win against South Carolina.
He dropped a 30-piece against South Carolina, but didn't get much help from his teammates. Now Tennessee's got to go on the road to face Kentucky later tonight. Inside to Mack. Here he goes.
He's just so strong.
And it's going to be Georgia basketball as Frank Nselimibe won that showdown.
Nselimibe needs to put that on a highlight reel. Coach, when you break down the game for tomorrow's practice, number 5 in white, he stood his ground, was able to stop B.J. Mack.
Didn't see him in the game against Alabama, but did see him in that Florida game. He's back on the floor for Georgia now.
Please welcome back to the court for the Dogs, Blue King.
South Carolina looking to show a little 1-3-1 action.
How do you attack it if you're Georgia?
Well, you got to get the ball to the middle and play on angles, especially on the diagonal.
Demery stopped by a host of Gamecock defenders.
But you don't want to turn the ball over. I mean, in a 1-3-1, when you drive that ball side, really 3 players can guard you. You're better to pass and hit it on the diagonal.
Foul whistled away from the ball, be the 3rd on Georgia's blue cane. So Kane will take a seat. Melendez replaces him. Michi with the extra hustle to save it. Murray Boyles too, tiptoeing across that half-court line. Beautiful.
Now in Columbia in the second half, it was Georgia that was getting those 50-50 balls, making those extra hustle plays. This time, so far, that has gone to South Carolina.
Gamecocks sticking with the defensive change. South Carolina with its largest lead today.
Well, normally in a 1-3-1, you put your quick guy in the back, but you got size down low for South Carolina to help with the rebounding.
They're going to call an offensive foul on Demery. His second.
Demery was in the process of shooting. It didn't look like to me that he jumped forward, or sometimes those shooters kick their feet out. I didn't see that. That was a tough angle on the replay. That's a tough call.
It's a 6-0 run for the Gamecocks. 8 seconds. Cooper, the no-look to Gray for the slam. And Mike White calls timeout. It's an 8-0 run for the Gamecocks.
South Carolina doing what they do in the second half. Talk about flex your muscles. All right, Just Gray. Right now, the Gamecocks in charge.
Well, South Carolina up by 6 after they trailed the majority of the first half to Georgia. And Gamecocks dominating in the paint. They're outscoring Georgia inside 32-20.
It was a matchup that I was concerned with for Georgia. When South Carolina goes with their bigs, Josh Gray inside, B.J. Mack able to get it done, and then attacking off the bounce in transition. And coming out in this second half, South Carolina's defense turned up, and they were able to turn that into points. 5 Georgia turnovers, 5 points for the Gamecocks.
We also saw South Carolina shift into a zone defense, a 1-3-1, a different look they're throwing at this Georgia offense.
And the 1-3-1, how they play it is they'll have a big at the back of the 1-3-1, and then one in the middle around the SEC area. And they let their guards cover out. That keeps their big guys inside, and that's what's helped them also control the glass.
Gamecocks currently on an 8-0 run. Get this too for South Carolina. 22 assists, that's a season high on 24 made field goals. Do you love that as a coach?
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
That means your team is sharing the basketball, sharing the sugar. You know I love that.
Always sharing the sugar. Georgia in a scoring drought here, almost 4.5 minutes.
South Carolina still in this 1-3-1, protecting the free throw line area, keeping a big guy down low, and again, Georgia turns the ball over.
That's their 5th turnover in the last about 5 minutes.
Now Georgia in a 2-3 zone looked like.
No go for Zachary Davis. Melendez pushing. Abdur Rahim. And he's fouled. I believe it's going to be on Josh Gray. So we step aside as they call that on Josh Gray. South Carolina still up. So a couple of free throws coming here in a second for Georgia. South Carolina is on an 8-0 run. Meanwhile, Georgia has had 5 turnovers, and they have not scored in the last 5 minutes.
And if I'm Lamont Paris coming out of this timeout right now, I'm going to change up my defense. I'm just going to get out of that 1-3-1, one possession, because I got to believe that Mike White in that Georgia timeout, he was talking about how they were going to attack the 1-3-1. Just one possession. Next time down, when you come down defensively, then go back to it. It's a chess match right now. You need to be playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
Jabri Abdur-Rahim will be at the free throw line with 2 shots coming. Georgia 5 for 5 from the charity stripe today. Look, I didn't jinx him on that one.
But South Carolina, they're 3 of 6. That was the difference I felt like, too. In that first game, Georgia was able to pay it off at the free throw line. They both went 32 times. Georgia made 25. South Carolina only 17.
Gamecocks break the pressure.
And Georgia staying in a man-to-man defense. But now, yeah, the switch with a guard, that's when you pass out of it, over-rotate, but you got to finish.
Josh Gray tried to get it back, but Chiwa takes it away. No field goals in 5.5 minutes for Georgia. Inside to Chiwa, battling against Gray.
He had the drop step back to the left. He made it hard on himself, trying to, being determined to go right.
Michi letting the defender blow by as he crushed a 3. 7 threes for South Carolina, Gamecocks' largest lead. Georgia lit it up from three-point land in the first half. They had 8 makes, but have not hit one in the second.
Yeah, this zone defense has been a problem for Georgia.
And the drought continues. 6 minutes without a field goal.
But can we talk about that last possession?
Always.
Cooper was so unselfish. After the shot fake, he was open, but he didn't force it. Got the ball inside, got it back to the top, then found Michi Johnson. Gave up a good shot to get a great one.
Cooper. Chiwa on the glass. Georgia looking for its first field goal since the 12:22 mark here in the second.
Georgia just cannot solve the riddle of this 1-3-1. With the big in the middle, you're really taking away ball reversal. Yeah, this last 5 minutes of the game, I'm keeping an eye on how deep in the shot clock does South Carolina get.
South Carolina will call a timeout here. 5:08 left in the game. Carolina up by 7.
I was telling you about Cooper being unselfish. Watch this. So when the ball goes to Cooper, defense runs by, and yeah, he can toe the line and shoot it, but he doesn't. He gives it back. The ball will find you when you're unselfish. It came back to him. He finds Michi Johnson, and Michi Johnson has a high percentage three-point shot.
Talon Cooper, one of 4 experienced transfers that Lamont Paris added to his roster. He comes from Minnesota, was a captain there last season, averaged 9 points a game, over 6 assists per game. That was 12th in the nation. Before that, 3 seasons at Morehead State, was a first-team all-conference selection and won his conference. But he said he's a big-time competitor. This is Lamont Paris talking about Talon Cooper. He wills himself in those big moments. He knows exactly what the team needs, and it comes from experience.
Well, he knew what the team needed against Tennessee in those final 5 minutes. Those 2 threes he hit, oh my goodness.
Smoking.
It'll give you a headache.
Meanwhile, you got to believe, I know that Georgia's on defense here, but you got to believe, too, they're addressing how do you continue to get past this 1-3-1 zone offensively, because they're struggling to figure it out.
Well, the biggest thing, like as you said, Georgia's got to find a stop and got to find a way to speed up South Carolina. Then offensively, when you're playing against a 1-3-1, you need to be in a 2-1-2 or a 2-3 set. Take the person out of the middle or either bring the person in the middle onto a ball screen so that you're making 2 guard 1. Now, when you reverse the basketball, that's when your diagonal is going to be there, because you got to protect the corner on the strong side. The defense has shifted. Now you can hit that diagonal pass.
Georgia's tried to use the 3 to get the Gamecocks out of the zone, but they're 0 for 5 in this half. Gamecocks just patient. Back inside to Murray Boyles. Boyles tipped away by Deloach. 5 seconds on the shot clock for the Gamecocks.
I'd look at what guard is matched up on the big for South Carolina. Go inside, right there. Mac Trunk.
Abdur Rahim comes down with it. Georgia looking to push in transition. And finally, Georgia's first field goal since the 12-22 mark.
And really scored coming down in their secondary. Knocked that half-court set before South Carolina could get set.
And B.J. Mack going to the free throw line. First foul on Thomason.
Watch how quick Meechie Johnson just accelerates off the bounce. Gets right back by Abdur Rahim. Inside, so quick and quick decision to get the ball to B.J. Mack, and Mack able to finish.
Three-point play for B.J. Mack. He's got 9 today.
See now, Georgia come and screen the top of that zone. That's got to make the middle have to come out. Not just passing it back and forth.
Attaboy, Blue. For Blue Cane, one of 3 dogs in double figures.
Late in the shot clock, South Carolina.
Meechie's gonna have to go. Cooper, right at the buzzer, it rolls around, offensive rebound. Colin Murray Boyles, that's a freshman.
That's a grown man. That's a big time play from number 30 in black. Colin Murray Boyles. His name may say freshman, but it's past December. He's a vet now for South Carolina.
You hear a lot about me these days, but here at the University of South Carolina, it's all about the we. The curious we, the compassionate we, the lend a hand, bend an ear we. The Rhodes Scholar winning, 80,000 head spinning, united, unstoppable, undeniable we. Because when you stand for something bigger than yourself, you can create something that benefits all. Behold, the remarkable we.
Winter Sports, more than sports. When your highlight reel opens the door to 4 years of higher education, 0 student loan debt, and NIL earning potential. When your stats include free room and board, nutrition and mental health support, plus medical care with extended coverage. And when your experiences, friendships, and development put you in the win column for life. For college athletes, sports just mean more.
Georgia trying to creep back in this game and solving the riddle to going against a 1-3-1. The diagonal pass. Justin Hill got in the seam, and Blue Cane now working that backside. That's how you've got to make a 1-3-1 have to shift.
Georgia needs a lot more of that in the final 3:21 of this game. They've been outscored 27-17 here in the second half by South Carolina after they led the majority of the first half.
And what Georgia cannot do is allow South Carolina to milk the clock. And they are masters at this and controlling the game. And they've got a lot of experience with it. They've done it a lot this season of once they've gotten the lead late in the second half, they have been the ones in control of the pace of the game.
Georgia went 7 minutes and 47 seconds without a field goal here in the second half. But when that ended, they were only down by 5. Justin Hill short on the 3, and he's going to be whistled for the foul. He grabbed a hold of Colin Murray Boyles' arm.
The way that South Carolina plays that zone, it just puts their bigs in such a great position to defend any penetration attacking the elbow. And then they're still in the paint as well to get rebounds.
1-1 coming from Murray Boyles. Got the first. Well, Monday night, SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the LSU women's basketball team, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Then go all-access with the Florida men's program. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sound from players and coaches right here on the SEC Network and the app.
Have you seen the LSU women's new locker room?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is. It's
straight
beautiful.
fire.
Look, it's got a whole beauty salon in it.
That's what happens when you win a national championship.
Right?
Foul on Colin Murray Boyles, the first for him.
It stayed in this zone, defended underneath, out of bounds.
Raheem takes the quick shot. Again, Georgia has not hit a 3 in the second half after crushing 8 of them in the first.
Georgia cannot allow South Carolina just to pass the ball around. You got to trap. You got to speed up things.
Six seconds. Michi driving, and Michi Johnson in. He's in double figures. Largest lead for the Gamecocks.
Well, he's a vet, smart enough to recognize he got the switch, he wanted it. He had a big on him, and he knew he had the speed to go back right past Chua.
All gas, no brakes.
Watch this ball screen switch. All right, now he knows it's money time, and he was able to go right past Chua.
Zachary Davis almost stole that away. Instead, they're going to whistle for a foul. They're going to talk about this one. It is on Davis.
If there was a foul, I think that it happened after the shot, but they're in the 1-and-1.
First one is good.
Oh, yeah, I think there was a lot of contact there. Zachary Davis, I think you got him.
It's both on the 1-and-1. RJ Melendez, Silas Demery back in for Georgia.
And now it's full court pressure. Now it's got to be a little bit more than just taking time off the clock. The purpose is to try to get a steal.
Back up top to Cooper. Georgia basketball.
They're going to take a look at it. I think it hit Gray's knee.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
So-
Georgia's ball.
Yep. They should be able to confirm this at the monitor. Under 2 to go. South Carolina up by 10. They've trailed by as many as 10. Georgia led for all but about 20 seconds of the first half. South Carolina's been able to settle in. They've seen some different defenses out of them that put Georgia on a 7+ minute scoring drought here in the second half.
That change to the 1-3-1, that zone was huge. And then owning the boards.
Yeah, so they confirmed the call at the monitor. This will be Georgia basketball.
That we were right.
Yeah.
It's confirmation.
South Carolina shared the sugar, as you say, assisted on 24 of their 28 made field goals. Georgia's hot from 3 at first, but since then 1 for 15, have not hit a 3-pointer here in the second half.
Like Macy Johnson and Talon Cooper have done a great job of taking care of the basketball. Macy Johnson, 0 turnovers in 30 minutes. And that's a huge responsibility for your guards when Lamont Paris wants you to use a lot of the shot clock.
Now, both of these teams, single-digit turnovers for the game. Abdur Rahim overshoots from the corner.
Cooper and Johnson, you see Cooper telling Johnson, get across the timeline. You don't want to have a turnover because you are trying to walk the ball up the court.
The feed to Gray. He'll eat.
Meechie Johnson, first step. I mean, it's like a hiccup. Oh, and he's gone.
It's a powerful hiccup.
And it from way out, almost to half court, he gives a nod or a wink to his post players of what's coming. Like, I'm going to beat him off the bounce, and you have your hands ready.
Meechie Johnson, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers. Swing it to the corner. Abdur Rahim waiting, and he adjusts from his last shot over there. Pressure on, but Georgia. You got a foul?
Yeah, you absolutely do.
And Melendez will foul Cooper.
But South Carolina's experience late in the second half, these guards, they just know what to do. They're not going to put the ball up, not going to shoot it, take a selfish shot, because you know it's more valuable to use the clock than to risk it to possibly get a shot. You see Cooper telling his team, get back, have them get set up defensively.
Georgia's got to go. Justin Hill will take the quick three, overshoots. Melendez does the same from mid-range.
And it looks like Georgia has thrown in the white towel.
South Carolina keeps answering the questions. No letdown. They beat Kentucky. Would they be let down against Missouri? No. They beat Tennessee, a top 5 team. Will they be let down on the road against Georgia? No.
They're unselfish. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're staying focused just on themselves. And right now, they're on a 5-game win streak.
Got to be ranked on Monday, right?
No doubt.
Are we talking inside the top 20?
Yes. 100% top 20 South Carolina Gamecocks.
We'll see what the voters say. A 10-point win for Lamont Paris on the road. Revenge for an earlier loss. Let's check out the Mayhem moment. It's brought to you by Allstate.
Talon Cooper getting inside. Josh Gray with the slam. This was a huge momentum swing. A sign of dominance in the second half for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Well, this season, South Carolina now 15-0 when they score 70 or more points. They're able to do that today. They add to that resume, and this is a South Carolina team who we expect to see in the poll on Monday. They did it by shooting 52% on the road.
52% because they're willing to make that extra pass to get the good shots. When you have 25 assists on 29 field goals, wow.
Nice win for South Carolina. Let's get you back to the studio with the guys.